but it's just really hard to get a positive mindset when things are going so bad. And that's actually another thing about the podcast. I want to help develop strategies for when it does get like that. Let's say if you're by yourself, like some things that you can do to help you, get over that hump on your own before reaching out.
Green flag.
Welcome to the Blind Apex Podcast, where amateur club racers tune in to get faster.
This episode is brought to you by Deechworks Fuel Systems. Visit deechworks.com to fuel your passion. Sometimes on this podcast, we're a little tongue-in-cheek. We try to be lighthearted, try to have fun. We take shots at each other, make fun of Miatas, Miata drivers, oil slicks under BMWs, and eBay parts, whatever. But we're going to get a little serious for this episode, and I want to talk about mental health and the struggles that we go through, and to help a fellow podcaster and track addict promote a new podcast he's going on. So joining me, he's a part of the Professional Awesome team. You can hear him monthly on the Pro Awesome podcast and weekly on Heat Exchanger. He's passionate about your ratings and reviews, so you better give him to him. And he's the self-described minority within a minority. Devin Giles, welcome to the podcaster.
That is the most amazing intro anybody's ever given for me.
I work hard on those, man.
Oh, I see. I really appreciate it. Thanks. My morale is high now.
Well, that's good. That's good. So for those that live under a rock and don't listen to the Pro Awesome podcast or Heat Exchanger, let's talk about what you've been up to recently.
Recently, I guess I got a new podcast called Break Check, where we dive into the mental side of grassroots racing. Mainly, a lot of people that may not know me, but I have manic depression or bipolar 2. So the mental aspect is far more critical and harder in the grassroots racing scene for me. So I just kind of want to kind of share my story, give a place where people can have tactics of dealing with anxiety or, that nervousness you get when you're on grid, things like that.
Yeah. I've never been diagnosed with anything, but my mother was, and I struggled. Like, I learned from my mom on basically things not to do. She wasn't very good at coping with certain things. And so I learned early on that I needed to work on coping strategies, right? Things are not always going to go my way. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to the hospital like my mom did. I wasn't getting medicated like my mom was, those types of things, right? So I worked really hard on it. I was a psych major in college. God, that was the worst part. I was self-diagnosing myself every single time we covered some new part of the DSM. But we all struggle, right? It doesn't matter what we do. At some point, we're going to struggle. And for some people, they bounce back easy. For some people, they don't bounce back at all, And I think it's important that we focus on this, especially in the pursuit of motorsports, because it can be grueling, so rewarding, and then so devastating all at the same time. So, what was your motivation for this podcast?
Honestly, I wrote an article that you referenced, minority within a minority, when I stressed that, being Black in general is a minority, or being Black with a mental health and be willing to speak out about it is also another big one. But since I wrote that article, the amount of messages I got about how they just people just feeling like, oh, okay, I'm not alone here. I'm dealing with something too, but I just feel afraid to reach out. Like we're in motorsports it's a weird thing to where the majority of people have very big egos and, like a bunch of alphas, right? So you don't want to be considered weak compared to your peers or something, or come from that mantra of like, be a man type of thing. So I wanted to give a voice. I mean, I'm not the most popular dude or anything like that, but I've been around, the time attack world for well over a decade now. So just somebody that has been around to be able to lend that voice, and that you're not alone, that what you're dealing with is actually normal, and to help get through it. So I guess the outreach from other people is what kind of motivated me to kind of get it going.
Yeah, this might be jumping the script a little for me, but I feel the community, like I have a podcast on like finding your race family, right? And finding your family in the paddock. I feel like those types of situations, especially with motorsports, like you said, we're the alphas, we got egos. I don't go on grid going, I'm going to lose this race, right? I may jokingly, right. I joked for my rookie year and for several years after that, I claimed last place, but it was a joke, right? It was tongue in cheek. I'm not going out there to be last place. Nobody is, right? But when you end up last place, how do you recover? How do you handle that, right? Most recently for me, I could not figure out this stupid K24 swap, right? It was killing me. It was puzzled me for 3 weeks, right? And if I didn't have two of my really good buddies come over when they came over to just help me look stuff over and encourage me, I would have been out for a minute, man, because it hit me hard. Just not being able to figure it out, I
get that.
So, but finding those friends, having that circle, having that group that you race with, I just listened to Heat Exchanger this morning, and it sounds like the Sunday Cup guys or whatever it is, club, whatever, SC, those guys have it, right? They're going to help each other. They're going to get through stuff. And I think that's important in the motorsports world, because as high as you can get finishing, on the podium, first place, whatever, doing a personal best, doing all that, it'll also give you that lowest of lows, man. So.
Yeah. I mean, part of the why the highs feel so high is because the struggles are struggles, right? And some people go struggles calling it adversity or things like that, when things just aren't going well, or figuring out a K swap, or even an LS swap. Like, people think everything's, these days everything seems so plug and play. K swap this, 2J that, LS that, right?
Right.
But they take a lot of effort, and a lot of you're making aftermarket parts go together that weren't really designed to go together. You know what I mean? And that can be a struggle, and it can seem stupid to feel like you do, right? Like, to feel like, why can't I figure this out? Somebody else did. So the team that you build around you is very important. I think nobody can be successful in motorsports, especially grassroots motorsports, without building a team. Now, how do you find that team? I think that could be, like you said, the club SC guys, right? They have a team within the community of their class in general. You can have a team together with like Facebook groups of people of your car or your specific engine or something like that. But either way, like, you have to have somebody to kind of pull you out of that slump, or, to just joke around with, to help figure out like what could be some issues. Like, cause I feel like we all need something that, can pick us back up, whether it be like finding motivation from someone with pain, as BMW drivers, AKB. But there has to be a togetherness atmosphere, in my opinion, or you'll get burnt out even quicker than than anything else. Like this becomes real fucking stupid real quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't have to have a diagnosis to know burnout is coming, right? Like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a diagnosis, but I know I have mental struggles, right? So I know I need those coping mechanisms. Some of the times those coping mechanisms come from my friends and my surrounding, my team, my wife, like my friends. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find what works for you. Some people need medication. Some people don't need medication, right? We're not talking about that necessarily, not the official stuff, but burnout is coming. There's only so much energy you can keep shoving into motorsports every day. And we do it. We subconsciously do it, right?
Yep.
We pour it in there every day. And when your mind, your body will start to feel how much you've poured into it, and you hit a pebble in the road and it can derail you. And you could be perfect for a decade, right? You could be fine for a whole decade, and then one hiccup, one blown fuse, and you forgot to check it could have you melt down, right? And you've never had a meltdown before, ever. It could happen,
Yeah, I tell people like you're constantly your mental state is constantly like filling a cup up and emptying a cup, or like if people like have Garmin or stuff like that, like you have your energy battery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're constantly, you're going to sleep, you're rested. Hey, it gets back up to 80%. Then the rest of that day, you've emptied it out 70%, but once it strikes zero, like you're fucked. Like it's going to be a real rough day. And how you get it to start filling back up is really key. And like you said, some of us, need to be medicated or, don't have, outsource of how to get back up to where they're okay state. But yeah, I 100% agree with you. We all get close to that burnout stage. Motorsports takes so much effort at every level, right? Like you're constantly thinking about it. You're constantly trying to optimize. You're constantly talking about it, right? I mean, hell, we're doing this podcast, right?
Right.
So it's never ending. So you also have to, kind of manage that too. Like I tell people all the time, like, don't feel rushed to do something. Like, don't feel like you have to do something. Like, if you miss an event, it's okay. Like, you also need to recover. Like, you don't go to work every single day, right? Like, you have sick days, you got vacation days. The same goes for motorsports, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I probably needed that conversation about 2 months ago when I missed the opening event. I was like, this is devastating to me. I hate missing events. I'm a high drive person, and I missed 3 events in a row. It's been devastating. So
how you been managing about that?
Well, I'm very fortunate. I have a tremendously supportive wife, and she's always like, okay, so what's the plan? What are we going to do? She's always trying to set up goals in between now and the next event, or what are the steps that need to get completed. Now, if they don't get completed, it's not the end of the world. Let's reset and look at what the next one is. And she's super helpful. I wouldn't be doing motorsports without her, because she actually pushed me to go pursue my dream. Right. So she keeps me in the straight and narrow. I call her my crew chief for a reason. She's really the team manager. And mostly she's just managing me, right? Because I spin the wrenches, most of the wrenches, and I drive the car and I brake the car and I pay for the car, but she manages me. And, but setting goals, but not being so firm in your goals, just knowing you have a process to work to get the car fixed, to get the car to the dyno, and then get the car to the alignment. And then what is the next event? Do you want a shakedown? Okay, get a shakedown day or event on the calendar, right? Make sure it's with the organization you can move if you need to move. I think the things that trip us up sometimes are we pay for an event, right? And it's a one-time event. We're out, $400 for a test day because they're never coming back, or they're not coming back till next year. So you feel like you're out $400. In the grand scheme of things, what's $400? But this starts to weigh on you, when you're behind on the schedule and stuff. So start doing things like making a plan, making sure it stays flexible. If you travel, right, if you get hotel rooms and stuff and you're booking these before the event, don't be so cheap to buy the from the place that won't give you a refund. Buy refundable tickets, buy refundable hotel rooms, take that stress out of it. So all you have to do is set a calendar reminder, like, are you going to keep this room or not? That's really big for me, just because I don't want to worry about spending money I don't need to spend, that weighs on me for whatever reason. And then I also go to the events, right? Even though I'm not racing the event, I will show up, right? And hang out with my track family. They're still racing, root them on, all those things help me survive this drought.
Okay. Yeah. That's phenomenal, dude. Like, seriously, like you've hit on something that I always preach lately. It's like you said, goals, right? But not just any goals. Like some people might have goals like, I want to. This is my first year in GOTC. I want to be top 5 every race, right? Where it's like that might not be a obtainable goal, right? Because it's hard. So I always tell people, like, make tangible, obtainable goals, and then break those goals down to smaller steps, just so you can then set a realistic timeline to accomplish those things, like you were saying. And then, like, when you're not able to accomplish some things, like, kind of adjust as needed, right? This way, it can actually kind of stop some of the things you were saying, right? So if hey, I need to have this car dynoed ready to go by April 9th, and it's, let's say, February 5th now, right? Let's say by April 1st, making that dyno isn't going to be possible. And it's like, can you readjust your timeline to where making this event becomes obtainable? And if it's not, then start to look at your other options for your hotel, right? Start looking at your other options for travel in general. And I like to tell people, like, stick to hotel rooms that not just are cheaper, but, like, say, with the same chain. Like, try to stick with the same chain. That way you can redeem hotel for another one later on, or different reward points or something like that. But I also share what you share about, spending money and feeling like it's a waste, right? That kind of goes into a resource model that I have of, like, time, money, effort. Like, which ones will I actually, if something falls outside of that triangle, then I'm not doing it. Right. And it changes, per thing I want to do. But, yeah, no, 100%. Like, it's kind of got to be fluid. And then the things that you really enjoy doing, just do them. Like, if you enjoy being around your track family, then fuck it, go to the track anyway. Even if the car is not there, like, you're still getting some of that dopamine hit, even though you're losing out on the main one. You know what I mean? Like, don't let yourself kind of fall in that struggle and then, kind of stumble and stay in that pit. Yeah. So I tell people to go out, do something you like. Like, if you really, we've all had this time where it's like, man, this car fucking sucks. Like, I really hate this thing today. Like, go do something that has nothing to do with the car. Like, I know it feels like you're wasting your time, or you're really not going to make this goal, but go do something else. Go play COD, go ride a bike, like whatever you need to go do, but get your mind off that car. Cause I mean, when you're in that negative state, like, there's not a lot of positive outcomes that are about to happen, right? You're going to start breaking things, losing things. And it's just,
oh yeah,
we all been there, just staring at the car. Like, what am I doing?
I almost lost my religion, man. I was like, what the heck? And literally, okay. Once upon a time, I had an anger management problem. I've come a long way. A lot of people like to blame my wife for mellowing me out and stuff, but let that car make me mad, and I'll throw a wrench all the way across my garage through a garage door. Like I it's still in there, right? The beast is hiding,
Mm-hmm.
and I cannot let it win, right? It's part of my mentality. So I have to walk away. And I'll tell you, I lost resources. I lost time because I took a week off of work, right? I took a week off of work. I was like, I'll just slam this thing together. It'll be no big deal. I'll get everything tidied up. I'll build the new splitter. I'll have it all done in 5 days. That's not a big deal. Monday morning, it won't start. 3 days later, it still won't start. And by Thursday, I was like, I'm not even looking in the garage. I'm not touching the car. I'm walking away from this thing because I can't deal with it. Later that weekend, one of my buddies comes over. We go over it. He goes, I think it's this. I don't know. I was ready to order some expensive stuff to fix it. And my other buddy's like, don't do that. Let me come over. So he comes over. He goes, I think it's this. Order it. Let's see what it does. I order it. It was cheap. It was like $100, $200 to try to fix it, replace this part. I replace it. Doesn't work. I'm devastated, but I didn't go into the garage for a whole nother week. And then a buddy of mine goes, I think you need to check this sensor. I checked that sensor. Yeah, it was crushed somehow. Just smashed up.
Okay. All right.
Bingo. Right. So, but I couldn't stay in there the whole time. Even though I wasted time, I just took that time to do other things, right? I wanted more garden space, so I made more garden space. I wanted to, get things more organized in the garage. So I put a cover over the car and started walking around the car, picking stuff up, but not looking at the car, anything but that.
Yeah, you need that mental break. You need some time to process it, right? And luckily, like you said, like your support system had an idea, and it's like, okay, this is something new. Like I'm not really wrecking my brain over it, and I am not, internally killing myself about it, right? So let's try that. Sure, why not? And I think you have a positive outcome. But it's just really hard to get a positive mindset when things are going so bad. And that's actually another thing about the podcast. I want to help develop strategies for when it does get like that. Let's say if you're by yourself, like some things that you can do to help you, get over that hump on your own before reaching out. Because a lot of times, we kind of feel like the world's ending, and then we kind of recluse. We stay in our hole until we fully become comfortable talking about it. And then, we peak out, but some people don't. And then that's when you see massive part outs, or, your homie that used to show up all the time doesn't show up because now he's embarrassed that his car broke, or, some silly like that we end up telling ourselves. So I just want to help develop, cause I'm no psychiatrist or anything like that.
Right.
Like my wife's she's in the field. She works with, sexual assault for the Navy. So she deals with a lot of things like that. But, I just like all the reading that I've done to try to get myself out of these slumps. I just want to share them with them, and maybe they'll help somebody else.
Yeah. I think that's admirable. Another thing I think it's our duty, those of us that recognize that we have these slumps and we're willing to admit it. You said, that homie that hasn't come around in a while. I think it's our duty that we recognize that we had this problem. Other people can too. And we need to check on our friends sometimes,
Dude, 1,000%. Check in on your homies. That's a motto of a friend of mine that, his mom still keeps his memory around, it is called checking on your friends. He, probably 8 or 10 years ago, he took his own life, and he was a person that, was very vocal on the internet, like, kind of, a dickhead sometimes. But when he talked to me, he was always super nice, genuine, curious, and just like seemed like a real down to earth dude. But it just turned out that he was just beyond stressed out. And a part of his way he would deal with things. He would just lash out, and a lot of people took that the wrong way. And I still think about how I didn't hit him up. The 2 days before he took his life, I was thinking about him, right? I was like, man, I should really hit him up, see how he's doing. I know he made that move out to Denver and kind of, just check in on him. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to bother him. I don't seem like a nuisance. Like, I don't want to be a fanboy or some shit. Like, I don't want him to feel some type of way. And then that always sticks with me to this day, to where it's like, if I think about somebody, just reach out to them, because you never know if that message might mean more to them than you, or even if it means a lot to you. Just, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like, always check in on your friends. You just never know what somebody might be going through.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. My boss actually has a thing up in his office, and it says, just be nice today, because you don't know what somebody else is going through. I know we like to talk smack and stuff like that, and that's sort of the environment of the paddock, but you'll know when somebody's struggling or could be struggling, and it's just like, just offer a hand. If they say no, it's okay, but just your support there could be enough to, pick them up a little bit. Just checking in on them. Text message them. You don't even have to call sometimes. Those of us willing to admit it, our lows, and that we're not, headstrong alphas all the time. It's our duty to sort of wave this flag and say, hey, it's time. We gotta look out for each other, because to be honest, like, this sport's gonna die if we can't keep everyone together and keep pushing this sport forward. Right now, the economy is what it is, and some people are hedging their bets and not going to the track as much, and prices are going up. So we're getting people that are dropping out because of prices and stuff. And, so the ones that are there, we got to check on them. And the ones that could be around, we got to check on them too. So never forget your homies, man.
Yeah, 100%. Homies, acquaintances, situationships, everybody. Because like you said, like, everybody's kind of, these days, most people are struggling, right? So the luxury of doing motorsports isn't a thing right now.
Right.
So yeah, like, they can be in a slump like you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't afford this. Like, what? I can't spend the resources on this right now, and it fucking sucks. And you just being, or, like you said, us being somebody that's still in the motorsports thing, that can be that reach out that really affects them, like, in just a positive manner. Like, oh, this person still thought about me, even though I'm not around. Like, this really is, a family. Or, even if they don't even, like you said, don't need your assistance, just the fact that you reached out feels good. Like, like, anybody listening to this, if somebody reaches out to you and genuinely wants to know how you're doing, you can't tell me that you feel bad or mad at them for doing so.
Right. You won't even be neutral about it. Like, it feels good. I'm like, right. Oh yeah, they're actually legit,
Yeah.
And that's cool. Sometimes I need it. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I need the help for real,
Right.
So don't be afraid. I think a lot of us get in, we put the garage door down. We're hiding what we're doing. We're not trying to let all our secrets out or whatever, but when you're struggling, I'll happily cough up my secrets to get past that struggle. I'll take somebody coming over to help me. They can see anything they want on the car. If it solves the problem that I'm struggling with, that's devastating me, So, we don't need to live in a super secret squirrel world where, we got to hide all the time. It's okay to reach out and see how people are doing. One of the big things is, like, my group, the guys that I race with, like, they like to go do track days together. They'll go do river floats together. They do all sorts of stuff together, so it's a big deal that we're so close. we're nice to each other, right? Do we always get along? Absolutely not, right? We're like family. Family fights too. It's not the end of the world. I was disowned twice. I know how it goes. But you know, you still need to be there, right? Like you still need to find that group. And I know you said you've been around Time Attack for a long time, but you need to find your home. You know, I know you have a team, but I think a home would be real good for you, even if you only go out a couple times a year. So.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, bro. I mean, I've been around Time Attack, but I'm nobody that sets records or anything like that. Like the team has set records before, but I wasn't really a part of that. Like even let's say my team aspect, right? They're really just part of my inner circle. Like they're just dudes I enjoy being around regardless of what we're doing, whether we go into a music festival in College Town, Lafayette, or, taking photos downtown Chicago. Like they're just people like I enjoy being around, that we happen to play with race cars every once in a while. So no, I'm 100% with you there, man. Like find your family, rather, whoever it might be. I think it's not even done even having to be in the motorsports world, because like you said, your wife helps you out through all these things, and you do all the car stuff.
I mean,
and my wife's kind of the same way.
Fortunately for me, I met my wife at the racetrack, so I knew she was going to be a keeper. So,
ooh, look at you!
Yeah,
what's that? See, I want to keep Tam as far away from the racetrack as possible. she has zero interest in it. Like she doesn't even want to be in the car, but she is my biggest cheerleader, and it's great.
That's important too. In your home relationships, knowing the boundaries, but then also being super supportive. My wife runs, right? I cannot run. The police aren't chasing me. There's no dog after me, and I'm not playing a ball game. I am not running.
I ain't doing this.
Right.
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you.
Right. But I go and cheer her on, right? She comes, she cheers me on. And I just think that's part of a healthy relationship, between a husband and wife, whatever. But even in your friendships, like she has friends that come cheer her on. We go support them when they do stuff like, and I think that's part of the reason I think it's healthy to go to the racetrack, even when you can't drive. Right now, maybe there's days you can't actually do that. Maybe you're so deep in the hole you can't do that, because I felt like I was there last month. But I went to a non-race event where they were all going to be at, and it sort of picked me up. I didn't really want to go because I should have been driving that event, but I went anyway. And, they encouraged me, the host of the event encouraged me to come down anyway and just hang out. And I did, and I had a great time. So try to put that stuff behind you and go hang out with the people that give you the energy you need to get past whatever you're working on. So.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you can even do something as simple like whatever the Facebook group you guys are in, making a little post like, hey, good luck out there today, such and such, and like a picture of you guys together or something like that, or a memorable on-track moment, right? Like that's the great thing about social media, with all the bad things too, but that's one of the great things about social media is we can see all those connections when we can't physically be there.
Yeah. I hear a lot of ups and downs from folks post race weekend. We call it the track hangover. I'm wondering, how do you deal with the track hangover? Because it's like, it's dopamine for 72, 48 hours, whatever it is. And then you get into work on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day you're there. And it's like, I do not want to be here.
Well, in general, Mondays are dog water for me, just because I usually like to stay up late on Sundays and enjoy my whole off day.
Right.
Those Mondays, I'm just like, bro, 3 hours of sleep. It sucks. That's an interesting question. I think it depends on how I regulated my expectations for that weekend. So if it's deemed a good weekend, like shoot, it's really hard to define a good weekend for me too. But let's just say it was a good weekend. I am generally just happy that I had a good experience and that I captured those memories. And the rest of my week is fine. Like I might be a little sappy the next day, as I call it. It's when I like send messages out like, oh man, I really appreciate hanging out with you this weekend, things like that. But other than that, I kind of just try to keep those same vibes, but through like text or over the internet. Like I'm trying to just reach out to the people that I really was vibing with that weekend and trying to kind of keep it going there. So it kind of sustains throughout the week or throughout the months until the next time it happens. The bad times though, those are the tough ones. Mm-hmm. Those are when I might get too far into my head. Like say for instance, 2 years ago, I invited all my family for the first time to an event, to Midwest Fest. And for some reason I put these thoughts in my head that I had to be competitive. Like I had to be like top 10 or something like that. So some silly. And then like when it didn't happen, like I was kind of devastated. Like I felt like, oh, I'm a loser. I'm not meeting the expectations. And then like trying to crawl out that hole, which is like, hey, Devin, they don't care what you did. They don't even know what's going on. Honestly, bro, like they're just happy to be there that you're doing something that you enjoy doing. So they're just happy to be there. Right. So I kind of have to start talking to myself about like, hey, what you're feeling is valid. Right. Like, yeah, you didn't meet the expectations you said, but then it's like backtrack. Like, did you set realistic expectations? And let's say if you did and didn't meet them, so what? Now you have an experience that you learned from, and now you can grow from there of how you can maybe get them next time. Right. And now this process might take, weeks to months. Right. Not months usually, but it can take a month. And, but I just have a process to try to get out of that slump, because if I don't, then it could be pretty dark for a long time. So mainly, I guess to answer your question a very long-winded way, I try to just go with the processes that I've done in the past, to kind of just walk myself out of it. But the positives though, I love when it's a positive weekend, which nowadays is more so because I don't care as much about winning. I kind of care more about the vibes I'm having while being, as long as I'm competitive. That's all that matters. I don't need to win. Right. So it's kind of like a shift of my North Star. And that's how I kind of avoid the after track or after weekend kind of slump, or like, I hate this workplace. Cause, I started thinking about like, hey, work, I still need this place to be able to do it next time. So
for sure.
I mean, Monday still sucks, but I'll be here.
Yeah, my job doesn't let me. I used to keep my race car as the background on my computer, and it was my screensaver too, because every time I got flustered, I had to remind myself that I'm here because I want to keep doing this. Right? They don't let us do that anymore, so it's the background on my phone. It's everywhere, right? But I think finding a process and working that process. It doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative weekend for me. We do a debrief on the tow home. Like, okay, you finished here. Where did you think you were going to finish? What do we need to do? What needs to be done to the car? What do you need to do as a driver? What do we need to order? All that stuff gets put out on the table. And I think the more we do that debrief and work through the process of what's missing, what's good, what's bad. And we just air out that laundry, the wife and I on the tow home, Monday or Tuesday, depending on what day it is. When I get home, the only thing I need is extra monsters,
That's true.
And then, because we already started planning, even if it's a bad weekend, right? And I could be in a bad mental state, right? Okay, I'm going to have to miss an event because I need to order so much stuff or replace the motor or whatever, right? Okay, I'll miss an event, but that means I'll have the money ready by X, and then I need to do XYZ or whatever, and just start setting that plan early, agree to it, and start working it. There's days, even on great weekends, right? Podium finish, actually passed a bunch of killers, get my stuff, got my little like $5 plastic trophy.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm hyped. And in the morning, I will throw the card down. I'll be like, all right, I need a fresh set of tires. I need, I need another set of brake pads, whatever it is, right? Oh, maybe it's time for that carbon trunk. I need to shed a little weight, whatever. It doesn't matter. Even on the good days, I'll spend the money, right? Bad days, you're spending money to fix stuff. And even on good days, I could be fixing stuff. So
that's true.
But
that's true. I mean, the car is, a garbage can that you just throw money into.
Yeah.
I think that does bring up a good question too. Like you said, like you do have to have a process for the good days too, because you don't want to end up in a situation where you spend too much money and you haven't, now you reach into those resources that are allocated for bad days. Cause you can upgrade the car and then next event, now you're blowing up a trans and now you can't afford to fix it. Right. That'll send you down a whole different spiral of feeling a negative type of way for spending the money to upgrade. Right. So I think that's a big thing I see in the motorsports world is people go so hard so quickly and then they don't really have a resource model or like have a budget of what they want to spend. And then they end up burning themselves out right away.
Well,
and that's tough.
Yeah, they'll burn themselves out and they'll burn their credit out. So
the amount of debt I have heard some people are in for their hobby, I was like, brother, we gotta talk about this. We gotta, man, when that zero interest kicks in, it is not going to be pretty.
Right.
Like I get it. I mean, 600 horsepower is cool. I understand, but do you want to do this long term? Let's dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, right.
But all of it plays into your mental state, right?
100%.
If is your home life okay? Is the race car okay? Are finances okay? Is the job okay? Is family life in general okay? There's stuff that's going to play on you, right? Like, you could be, everything could be great. And then your mom or dad gets sick and that starts weighing on you. It starts draining resources, time, that triangle you were talking about, right? Like what if you got to go by, mom and dad's every day after work? In that time after work, you used to sim, you used to do other things. It starts taking away from it. You need to accept it and you need to figure out how you're going to accept it and work around it, and don't let it play on you. So
I think that's a big thing where people need to find like, what is it that you really like or you really want to do? Like kind of find your motorsports values. Like for instance, like for me, like just having a competitive car, but what's more important is having a cool competitive car, right? So if it doesn't fall within those metrics, then I typically don't do it. And you can do that in almost every class, right? Like cool to you is always going to be subjective, and competitive to you is actually also going to be subjective, right? Like you can be competitive with last place if you want. Like what is like define like competitive, like you want to be mid pack, right? So you can always like change your end goals, but just have something in mind. I think sometimes we get caught up in just trying to be the best and being the fastest when it's like, what do you like about that feeling? Like, do you like, it's like, is it the attention? Because, we ego driven sport. We do love the attention, even though it's a plastic trophy. Yep. We all think we are going to be next to Lewis Hamilton.
We're going to hold that plastic trophy so high above our head.
You know, I tell you what, the coworker's going to ask, "Did you win any money from this?" And one tear is going to shed out. You know, he's going to, okay, all right, it's a terrible thing for you to ask me, but all right, understood.
Yeah,
but
the price of winning that trophy is much more than $5.
right. So really, like, dig deep, like really look at yourself and what do you really like about the racing part? Some people really, it comes down to the community, right? It comes down to they just like running, you know, NASA. They like the format. They like this. They like that. Like whatever it is for you, find that, and then just try to make sure you're always staying within your own resource model to do the things that you really want to do. And that's where, you know, that's where. Well, I guess when this drops, that'll be out. But that's kind of like how scope creeps in. And that's a big mental cognitive thing that you always have to be cognizant of. Like, what am I doing what I want to do within my own resource model?
Yeah.
It's like so critical. Like, it's the most important thing when you get into this hobby, because you will be in debt or you will go broke or lose significant others if you don't keep that maintained in a safe manner.
Yeah. And then all of that impacts you mentally.
Correct.
And in ways you'll never know until you get there. So,
right. I mean, but we're all going to get there. And that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's anybody I've met that, you know, I guess when you first come in, like, it's all great. But then, like, if you're in it for more than, let's say, 2 years, like, somebody's got to have some negative feeling or some negative thing that happened. You know what I mean? And then it's like, well, how did you deal with that? And I think that's the most important thing. Like, the mental aspect really will keep you in this or make you not want to do it or even resent it a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Or you string enough highs together that it's all consuming.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. That's a tough spot to be in.
Well, I know there's people who come to the track. They don't even race. They come to the track. They volunteer. They hang out. They do other things, right? Mm-hmm. Racing wasn't for them. Being an HPDE wasn't for them. But they like the atmosphere. They like hanging out. They like the people, and they like cars. But they got motion sick. They couldn't physically deal with it, right? I literally know somebody who this happened to them. They had to hang up their car, like they sold it, right? And they put a ton of money into this car because they were really enjoying it, but they still came to hang out. They still, you know, helped the guys in the paddock area. They volunteered, you know. It was a part of them still. So,
and that's right. I mean, that's finding what you like, all right, or finding, you know, let's say you're forced to sell a car, still getting like a big chunk of what you desired when you started this or when you were doing it. And, you know, overall, your cup is still filling up to being back happy. So I get it. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, Devin, is there anything else? Well, actually, I got another question.
Okay.
Who is the target audience for the podcast?
I'm gonna give a super broad and kind of annoying answer.
You should,
but literally anyone that thinks learning about their mental things with racing is interesting to them, right? Yeah, I mean, that's the best answer I can give. Kind of like, you know, the people that are really struggling, or things like that. Like you're not alone. Like, there's a lot of us out there struggling with the different aspects of things. The people that, you know, want some new strategies for dealing with stress, anxiety, expectations. Shoot, I wish I had my notes in front of me. But, or even deal with like self-deprecating thoughts, right? About how much you suck. Like you said, like you might joke like, yeah, I'm competing for last. right? Like, you don't mean it, but you're kind of brushing off that negative feeling with a negative joke about yourself, right? If that's something that you can also have strategies to deal with, because I struggle with that one the most, right? Or I struggle with like imposter syndrome. Like even the fact that you asked me to come on this podcast, I was like, I'm a nobody. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? So like dealing with things even of that nature. So basically anybody that wants to learn and support about the mental side of things. That's all.
Yeah. And so honestly, I don't know how the structure is going to be. How often are you releasing?
I'm thinking it's going to be the Wednesday every second week of the month.
Okay. So a monthly release.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm thinking 12 per year would be sufficient.
And are you going to bring on guests or talk about certain articles or books or all of that?
Yeah. So my goal is to bring on some guests that struggle with different aspects of the mental health spectrum, and kind of go over some reading that can directly relate to us in the motorsports field, whether it be drifting, drag racing, and road course stuff, mainly because that's the three that I'm mostly involved in. And share some perspectives, really. Even maybe do some sample downloads after a track or after a session.
Okay. I found I got feedback from this podcast that there's folks who, we focus on road course circuit racing, right? But there's drag racers who listen. Why? Because they want to know the processes we use to adapt their own processes, right?
Yep.
There's drifters that listen to this for the same reason, right? For the race program stuff and things like that. So I think anybody who's struggling or anybody who races, I don't know how my wife does it because I can't run, right? I literally have a mental block with running. So there could be something there, any type of racing could actually benefit from listening to at least certain episodes. So,
right. 100%.
As broad as it can be. And I'll happily share your episodes and all that stuff because I think it's important. These days, people either hide in a bubble or melt down in secret somewhere, and they don't need to do that.
Well, thanks. I really do appreciate that. And I'm just hoping that whatever release, if it helps one person or, two people listen to it, like that's still a success to me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Devin, I really appreciate you coming on, sir.
Oh yeah, man. No problem. Thanks. I really, really appreciate you having me on.
Yep. Anytime.
Until next time, keep working on yourself, keep working on the car, and let's get faster.